Hey guys, I'm Jennifer. Today in my kitchen we are doing breakfast with a cinnamon apple coffee cake. We are going to caramelize some apples and we are going to fold them into this nice tender sour cream coffee cake, and it's going to be topped with a brown sugar streusel. I made this for the first time last week and I cannot stop thinking about it, and so I knew that I had to share it with you guys. I think you guys are going to love it, so let's get started. The ingredients that you'll need for this coffee cake are 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter softened to room temperature, 3/4 of a cup of packed brown sugar, 1 large room temperature egg, 1 cup of all-purpose flour, half a teaspoon of baking soda, 3/4 of a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt, half a cup of sour cream, and you'll also need 1 chopped apple, a tablespoon of butter, and a heaping tablespoon of brown sugar. We're going to start off with caramelizing our apples, so I'm going to melt my butter in a small saute pan over medium heat. Now that our butter is melted, I'm going to add our apples. And we're going to cook these on medium heat and stir them just a little bit until they start to become tender. If you want to speed up the tenderizing process, you can cover the pan with a lid for just about a minute, and that'll keep in the steam and help to tenderize those apples. Now that our apples have started to turn golden brown and start to tenderize a little bit, we're going to add in our brown sugar. I'm also going to add in just a pinch of cinnamon. I'm going to give this a good mix. I'm also going to add just a little bit of water. We're going to cook this for just another minute or so. Now we're just going to let our apples cool while we start preparing the cake. Now to start with the cake batter, we've got our brown sugar, and to this I'm going to add our room temperature butter. Now I'm just going to mix the butter and the brown sugar until they're evenly combined. Now I'm going to add in my room temperature egg. And we're going to give this a good whisk until it's nice and creamy. To my wet ingredients, I'm also going to add about a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Mix that together. Now we're going to move on to our dry ingredients. Just going to whisk everything together with a fork. Now we're going to alternate between adding our flour and our sour cream in batches. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. I've got my butter, brown sugar, egg, vanilla mixture right here. And I've also got my dry ingredients, my flour, my cinnamon, baking soda, all of that good stuff. And then I've got my sour cream. What we're going to do is we're going to add these two in batches. So I'm going to start with about 1/3 of my flour, and then we're going to do half of our sour cream, and then we're going to repeat that with the flour, and then the sour cream, and then we're going to end with the flour. So we're going to add about 1/3 of our flour. Doesn't have to be exact. Give that a good whisk. Now add half of your sour cream. Whisk that in. Another 1/3 of our flour, the last of our sour cream, and the sour cream is going to make this cake really moist. Now the last of our flour. Give this one last whisk, but do not overmix the cake. Now we're going to fold in our caramelized apples, and you want to make sure that you give these enough time to cool so that they don't scramble the eggs that are in the cake batter. I've got a 9-inch cake pan lined with aluminum foil, and I just brushed it with some vegetable oil. You could also use melted butter or just spray it with some cooking spray. I'm going to add in our coffee cake batter. Now we're going to spread this into an even layer. The last thing we have to do before we put this cake in the oven is make a quick brown sugar crumble. For the brown sugar crumble, you'll need 1/4 cup of flour, 1/4 cup of light brown sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, and some nice soft unsalted butter. We're just going to give this a good mix until it's combined. It's going to sort of look like wet sand once you're done with it. Now we're going to equally sprinkle this crumble all over the top of our cake. Our cake is ready to go in the oven. My oven is preheated to 350 degrees. We're going to bake this cake for 35 to 40 minutes until it's nice and golden brown, and a toothpick inserted in the center should come out clean. Our apple cinnamon coffee cake baked for about 38 minutes. It's nice and golden brown now. Now I'm going to let this rest and cool to room temperature, and we're going to get started on our simple powdered sugar glaze. To make our powdered sugar glaze, we're going to need about 1 cup of powdered sugar, and we're going to add enough heavy cream just to make a nice thick glaze, and that's going to be about 1 tablespoon or 2. We want it to be nice and thick and glossy, just like this. I took my glaze and I transferred it to a disposable piping bag. Now we're going to drizzle our glaze all over our coffee cake. And we're going to dust the cake with some powdered sugar. The cake is glazed and dusted with powdered sugar, and now we are ready to eat. My mouth is watering right now. I've had the smell of apples and cinnamon in my kitchen for the past couple hours, and I cannot wait any longer. Time to dig in. This is like the perfect fall cake. It's got apples and cinnamon and brown sugar. It's tender and sweet. I hope you guys enjoy this just as much as I do. All the recipe instructions, ingredient quantities, all that good stuff is on my website, jenskitchen.wordpress.com. Thank you guys for spending time with me, and I'll see you next time.